Hello and welcome to Cartola FC Game Week 3. My name is Sean. Let's get into the week. So last week was a pretty average week. I had some guys disappoint. My captain, Cano, I went for a punt on Pedro, who disappointed. So only got 58 points. That was pretty much average, but we did gain a little bit of money. Basically, Alexander and Jacare saved my week. Getting me a lot of points and money. Alexander had the assist off the corner, Jacare with the goal, even though his team lost. It was an average week, but we'll take the cash and move on. So game week 3 valuation is different. The first 2 weeks had kind of a system or rules to go by. This week you pretty much just want to go for the players who you think get the most points. If they do get points, they will get you money. Um, and yeah, that's basically the rule. You want to target matchups. If you do have Cartola Pro, you'll be able to see the minimum points to gain money or to value. If not, there's a good website, guru2cartola.com. And I'll go through that. It's a good website that has access to those minimum points to value for each player, and it's really helpful. So, all right, so let's take a look. It's a small sample size, only 2 weeks of the season, but we can see the average XG. That's the expected goals per game. Sao Paulo, Fortaleza, creating a lot of chances so far. Inter, who is a pretty popular targeted team to go for this week, creating less than a goal per game per expected data. So that's kind of interesting. Botafogo, Coritiba, Paranaense not creating much there at the bottom. And Fluminense off to the hot start. They're top of the table, but not even top for expected goals. So Palmeiras, you expect. Vasco creating a lot of chances so far. Again, this is a very small sample size, but we'll see this kind of average out throughout the season. Let's see. Sao Paulo, Fortaleza, tough matchups this week. And we'll go over week 3 matchups. Expected goals conceded. So this is defensively Goiás. Very, very impressive, not allowing too many chances. On the other side, America Mineiro just leaking goals. And I've highlighted Inter as well. Now, yeah, Inter, very popular choice this week, but they've given up 1.45 XGC so far. Flamengo looking good. Corinthians looking good as well. So, yeah, only 2 weeks. Cuiabá, Coritiba, America, teams to target for offensive players. Here are the matchups for Game Week 3. We can see there are some pretty tasty fixtures. Flamengo at home, big favorites to Botafogo. Palmeiras as well. Inter is a big favorite. And Atlético Mineiro. Some other matchups to target: Vasco da Gama, Bragantino, and Santos. Sao Paulo, favorited on the road. Grêmio has been kind of a disappointing team, and people are still picking their midfielders. Even Suarez potentially this week. They are underdogs on the road to Cuiabá, so maybe stay away from them. If you wanted to take a punt on Suarez, I don't hate it, but I kind of want to see him click before we go for them. Atlético Mineiro, Flamengo, Palmeiras, very good teams to target. And the first 2 weeks, we went for players to gain us money. If you do have over 120 bucks, then money should not be a total issue. So we just want to be able to go for the players who we expect to get the most points. Fluminense, tough matchup against Fortaleza. We will know that predicted lineup along with Sao Paulo and Coritiba. Those are the first 2 matchups of the week, so we will know those lineups because the market closes 1 minute before those matches start. This is a good website to check out predicted lineups. Horget10news.com has the expected lineup for every match of the week, and question marks. You can see, potentially which players are going to play in those positions. It's not 100% accurate, but it's a good resource to have. Let's see. You can take a look. Palmeiras, very good matchup at home against Corinthians. Should be a good match. Um, do have some question marks on who's going to start. These teams did have cup matches over the week, so that could play into. And then we have Copa Libertadores next week, so yeah, it's a good resource to check to see who's expected to start. And yeah, you can kind of click and see. Here is the resource for checking the minimum points to value if you don't have Cartola Pro like myself. Um, you can see in this, if you just hit this button right here, you can see and filter each player. See their price. This column right here is the important one to see how many points they need to get to gain you money for the week. Okay, so here are my attacking tiers for Game Week 3. The most important position that has the potential to get you the most points also will most likely be your captain of the week. In Tier A, I have Hulk and Pedro. I really like their matchups. Pedro just scored 4 goals in the Cup, so he might be a risk to start. And for that reason, I do like captaining Hulk, but those two players will be in my attack. For the third spot, it's a little trickier. Um, Pedro Raul for Vasco is a cheap option, very good pick. If you do want to double up on Flamengo's attack with Gavi, he should be the preferred penalty taker for Flamengo. I do like that pick. Endrick is a risk to start. If he does start, he probably will only get 60 to 70 minutes, but he's cheap. And if he plays 9 for Palmeiras, it's a really good option. And I don't hate Suarez. They do have a road matchup at Cuiabá, but he could brace. He should still be on pens, even though he missed one. Um, I don't hate that pick. And like the first 2 weeks, Suarez was a huge risk to pick because if he didn't score, he would lose you a lot of money. This week, it's not the case. I think his MPV, minimum points to value, is around 4 or 5, so it's not a huge risk as far as, yeah, if this guy tanks, he's going to tank your money. So don't hate it. Let's take a look at the midfield. Again, I have two picks kind of locked in with Alex Teixeira for Vasco and Alan Patrick for Inter. Decent prices for those guys. Really good matchups. Again, Inter is kind of the flavor of the week with their performance against Flamengo last week, and they have a good matchup. For the third spot, little trickier. Sao Paulo's on the road. Arajo, decent pick. Menino, kind of a risk to start for Palmeiras, but right now he's my preferred option. Yoran, again, a risk to start. And if you wanted to go for a really cheap option, Cepelini at home against Grêmio, he's kind of their creative force to create chances for Cuiabá. I don't hate that pick. Very cheap player. So low risk as far as value. And he could get an assist or two. I don't hate that pick. Okay, so let's move on to defense. I do have Fabricio Bruno, Gomez for Palmeiras, and Gomez for Inter as a cheaper option. And then Lemos has performed well. He got a goal game week 1 for Mineiro. They've got a nice matchup, but he does come with a high price. I don't really hate any of those picks. Depending on how your budget is, you could go double Inter defense as well. For the fullbacks, I do want to target Flamengo. Like Ayrton Lucas, very attacking player. He is the most expensive pick there, but does have a high upside. Rubens for Mineiro, Right now he's question mark, so might stay away. Rocha didn't start last week. He did not even come off the bench, so that did help me as I had a performing player get me points last week. If you wanted to go for a cheaper option, if budget is an issue, Capixaba for Bragantino, nice pick, as well as Puma for Vasco. Um, Nathan, kind of a nice pick for Santos. Um, he does get forward. He also very defensive player. Does get a lot of tackles. Very active on the defensive side of the ball. So I do like Nathan. He's kind of an energetic spark for Santos, and they do have a nice matchup this week. So right now I'm leaning towards Ayrton Lucas and Nathan. But if we get promising news on Rubens for Monero, do like him a lot. Goalkeepers, Everson, Kaler, very cheap players. I do like them a lot. Manager, I'm leaning towards getting another Flamingo asset on the team, Sampoli, for Flamingo. Decent price. It's a little expensive, but I expect them as a team to perform. Santos and Monero also attractive picks as well if you wanted to go for those managers. Um, Kind of bad luck with the Gremio goalkeeper last week if you had Adriel. Grando did uh, look impressive. I don't know. I expect Grando to start, but might stay away from the Gremio goalkeeper and pick either Kaler or Everson. So let's take a look at my team for this week as it stands. Okay. So yeah, I do have about 130 bucks to spare, so budget is not an issue. Right now I have Hulk, Captain, Endrick, and Pedro, Alex Teixeira, Menino, Patrick in the midfield, and then we have two Flamengo defenders, Palmeiras and Nathan for Santos. Um, Flamengo manager. Now there's a goalkeeper hack you can do, and I do recommend it pretty much every week. Basically, your bench will come on if your starting player does not play a single minute. So for goalkeeper, you can pick an injured guy, um, and your bench player will only come on if they get positive points. If they're in the negative, they won't come on. So or at zero, they won't come on. So very nice little hack there. Um, Also, your bench player has to be cheaper than the starting player, so keep that in mind. But it's nice. So if Everson gives up a couple goals, and goalkeepers are the highest risk to go negative if they give up goals and don't make many saves, they will be in the negative. So if Everson doesn't get positive points, you won't come on for this goalkeeper. So I do recommend that hack. Um, yeah, we have decent team here. Game week 3. Good luck, and I'll see you next week. Give me a like.